Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're working on the General. We're in the shop and show you what we got here. We've got Razorback Technologies temperature gauge. So you got this gauge here. It'll tell you what temperature your belt is running at, and then it has a little light on there that comes on different colors to let you know along the way where you're at. You've got this switch here that comes with it to adjust the settings on this thing. You can adjust the times that things come on. You know, like your red is in this area and your yellow and all the different colors. I don't remember all the different colors at the moment, but I think there's 3 colors. And it's got this nice little gauge, and it's dimmable. And then this here is the actual sensor. This is the key to it all. So my understanding, this is the only company that is actually reading the belt temperature. So you put this in your cover, and you drill the hole in these double nuts here. You put it in the cover. This part will be sticking up. This is in the cover, just barely sticking out. And then this wire here, this is an upgrade from their earlier models. You screw that on there, and then this ties in the wiring harness going up into the vehicle. So what's nice about this is if you have to work on something, you can just unhook this and move it out of the way. Or if this gets hooked on a branch, you can just replace this. You don't have to replace the whole assembly. So you've got the sensor, you've got the little jumper wire that comes off of it. Then you've got a whole bunch of wire here. There's supposed to be enough to do a big 4-seat machine. And then you have the control wires. So what this has, you got one that goes to power, one that goes to the switch, and one for a fan. This one here that's capped off, that's for a fan. They also sell a fan for this thing. It goes in line in your system, and when you start the machine, my understanding is you start the machine and that fan will come on, and then as the temperature rises, the CFMs of the fan will go up along with it. And I'm not doing that part right now. Right now I'm just going to monitor the belt temp, and then I might add a fan at a later date. It goes in line in one of the what do you call it? One of the breather lines going into the clutch. So I'll show you where I decided to put this stuff. So check out that big hole that I drilled in my dash. So that was scary. I thought about it for a while. I was trying to find the best spot for this gauge. I wanted somewhere out of the way. They make some different mounts for different rigs to be able to put them in different spots. But this just seemed like the cleanest if I could fit it in there. And when I held it up there, it's like, man, that just barely would fit. Like, it'll rub right here and it'll rub right there, which I actually just shaved a little bit of this off of each one. So taking a 2-inch hole saw, hoping you have that in the right spot, hoping the hole saw doesn't dance on you, and just gently drilling the hole. It was spooky. So the reason I was bringing this with me to show you is that's a 2-inch hole, but this requires a 2 1/16. So this has a little bit of a radius on this side of this rasp. So I drilled the 2-inch hole, and then I just, see how that kind of fits in there? I just went around that with the rasp, around and around and around, checking it, checking it, checking it. And now I can take this thing, and it almost threads into the hole. So that's nice and tight, and it just barely fits in there. So to come up with where it goes, I took the nut off. I held it positioned in here as close as I could, trying to center it up. And then I took a caliper and found the center, and then I scribed it. And you can just barely see it on this plastic, but I just scribed a little hole, check my measurements over and over and over and over. So this fits in here nice and neatly. I won't screw it in all the way at the moment, but that's going to go right there. And then I needed somewhere for the control switch, and this panel is full. So there's nothing in behind here, no wires or nothing. So I made it so this can go in right there. This is just to adjust that. You're not going to use that very often. So that's going to mount right there. That's going to be pretty clean. It's out of the way. It looks like it belongs. And it's clean. That's what I like. I like clean, you know. They have mounts that you could have had it sitting up here or up on the dash, or I didn't want any of that. So we'll take the wires, we'll hook it up to there, we'll run them down through this console, run it through the console all the way back here, and pop them out back here in the belt area. Where I'm at now is figuring out where I'm going to put that sensor. It goes up along the top. I got to look at the instructions again and determine the best location. You want it as close to that belt as you can. And what I was afraid of is that if I blow a belt, it's going to rip the sensor out of there. And that's why I never bought one online. I was talking to a guy in person, and I bought it from someone who's used them. And they said it's not really an issue. Plus, the whole idea is with that belt temperature gauge, you're going to catch it before your belt goes, in theory. So we'll figure out where that goes and how I'm going to drill that hole. And I'll show you what I come up with that. And then I'll run the wires and everything. And once I get it all hooked up, we will show you also how it works and the functions of it and that switch. And then that fan, I'm not sure if it goes into this line or if it would go into that one. No, that one's the exhaust, so it'd have to go into this. So I'm pretty sure it'd go into this line. But I will look into that too. I'm not putting the fan on right now anyway, so that doesn't matter. While this is apart, I'm going to take this belt take the belt off, clean the shivs, clean the belt, inspect everything, and put it all back together all nice and neat. And be one more thing checked off the list to be ready for going to the UTV takeover. So we're going to get after it. I'll bring you back, show you what's up. All right, we'll show you what I did. So I wound up putting see if I can get some light in there. You see that? Wound up putting the sensor in the center right there, as I'm able to remove this exhaust, and then I could get a drill down in from the top to get the hole started. There's not quite enough room in between here, even for a right angle drill. So it's pretty tough to try to drill a hole straight. So the hole was a little bit undersized, and then I used the file to get it the right size. That way I can make it straight. And then when it's centered up over the fan, or over the belt. So it wound up right there. So one of the things the instructions was talking about is on Polaris's. Of course, it didn't mention this one, but it did mention the older Razors, and this clutch setup is the same as an older Razor. Got a friend that has a 15, it's the exact same. So they talk about putting it back in this area back here, but when I put a belt on and off back here, because you're squeezing them in between, it barely fits in between the clutch and the cover with the belt, so I didn't want anything else hanging down there. And if a belt did let go, I was thinking in that area would probably be more susceptible to abuse than over here. And it does show options of being up front, being in the middle, being up here, being down here. So I went with this one here. And then if I get this down low enough, you see that white caulking in there. That's a polyurethane called the 3M 5200. I had a hole right there, so I've been wondering why when I wash the thing, it doesn't want to move. And it's like, it never used to be like that. Well, I didn't realize that one of the times that the belt went, it actually ripped a hole in there that I had not repaired. So I caulked that and filled that up for now instead of replacing the whole cover. And then while I had it off, I don't know if it's showing the camera, but there's scuff marks in there. I went ahead and blew everything out, got all the dust out of it, did that a couple of times, and then I hit Scotch-Brite on the clutches on both sides, got the shivs all roughed up, wiped it all down with rubbing alcohol. I took the belt and went to the kitchen with some Dawn dish soap and a Scotch-Brite pad, and I went around and cleaned the entire thing, and then cleaned the edges real good. Put that all back together. That should perform like a brand new belt. I didn't notice any real burning or anything like that. So it's just a cleanup job. And the sensor just barely clears. I don't know if you can see it, just barely clears that vent tube. And then right up here is where the connector is for that little short lead. So it's up out of the way. Should be pretty safe. There's lots of other lines there. Never had any issues in that area. So those head on up through there. And then it's run down the center console. And if you have a 4-seat and you're not aware, what you can do is you can pop these cup holders out, and you can pop this out, and you got access to all that in there. You don't have to necessarily tear the whole vehicle apart. So I pop those out, and I come up here. You see I still have these ones out. I just feed the lines through there and then snake them up. There's a little divider in there, and you snake it up and it goes inside. If you go under it, it'll go out into the area under the front hood. So those were snaked up there, run around. I got the gauge there and the switch there. The little bit of extra wires that wrapped them up, and they were zip tied up in there. And I got the blue wire, which is for the fan. It's run back, and it makes it to just behind this, zip tied up out of the way with all of my wiring for the rock lights. So that's ready for down the road if I ever put the fan in. So this I popped out when I was trying to figure out where to put everything. So that just snaps back in, but I got to get that little accent light lined up. I think what I did before is I pushed that thing in there and then reach up from the passenger side up around and put the light in there. But that's with my right arm, and that's the arm that my shoulder's hurt on, so I don't know if I'll be able to get that up in there without hurting myself. So we'll see. If not, the accent light won't be in there this time. Okay, earlier in the video I was telling you how it told you all these different spots. See, I went right in the middle like it shows right there. So that is what I did. Now where is, there we go. We got green is temp below 200 degrees. Orange is 200 to 225. Red is 225 to 245. Red strobe is 245 to 260. Flash, red strobe is over 260. And then pink means sensor's disconnected. And to something in case you guys don't know, if your belt reaches a temperature that can damage it, do not shut the engine off. The clutches are very hot and can bake the belt as they clamp down. The best way to allow your belt to cool is by driving at a reduced pace on flat ground or revving in neutral. I do the revving in neutral thing after I do a hard pull and stuff like that. I'll kick it in neutral. If I've stopped, I'll kick it in neutral and just rev it up a little bit and hold it, and that gets a lot of air going, which is the advantage to putting the fan in, which I'll probably do at some point. But anyway, then we got these brightness levels. You got 100%, 55%, 35, 15, and 2. Your gauge, dimmer display, cool cycle. Press the rocker switch to increase brightness by 1 level. Let's see what happens. Oh, there's the dim. Ooh, I like that. It does dim the LED also. Wow, I like that. So I don't know how well that shows in the camera as I drop it. But there's 5, and then it goes down. Yeah, and the camera just gets so bright you can't even read what it says. I might try running it on the second setting. That's 15% brightness. So I'll try that out. All right, so far belt's only at 69 degrees. So, well, there's a little bit. Because it was just idling, so it's not going to create much heat. Alright, so maybe I'll move all this lawnmower equipment behind me and go out and drive around the yard a little bit. Alright, just riding around in the yard. Not really going to get it hot enough. It's only up to 131. So, probably you'll just have to see what it's like when I take it out. But at least I know what's going on. I'm still in the green. And then if I start to have the belt feel like it's slipping or getting warm or anything like that, I'll be able to look down and see what the temperature is, and that'll you know, help me figure out the whole situation of what I got going on. So let's see what it does. I park here, throw it in neutral. See that there? It moves enough air, it starts dropping the temperature of the belt. Just because those fans and the shape of the belt all work as a fan in there. So I can definitely see the advantage of throwing a fan in there that's going to change speeds as required. I wouldn't be surprised if after the first ride on this thing I order a fan up. Just, you know, for nothing else, peace of mind. Yeah, got some more air blowing through there. Temperature drops a little bit more. See if it'll go below that. right, so this is supposed to be a true infrared sensor that actually, turn this around so you can see me. It's supposed to be a true infrared sensor that actually is pointed at the belt. That's why it's critical that you get it centered up on the belt and that you have it 90 degrees to the belt. You don't want it in there cocked, so when it's shooting the beam down, it can't hit it. It's like if you're using one of those temp gauges. Those guns, that's an infrared. So we'll see how this works out. Definitely gonna give me information. Information is part of finding the answers. So anyway, we got that all installed, and we'll see what it does at the UTV takeover. I think this is all we got for this video. I'll go ahead and throw a link in there for the Razorback Technology Guage, and there was something else I was going to throw a link in there for. I don't remember. Look in the descriptions. I'll throw some other links in there, help you find this stuff, and we'll catch you on the next one. Have a good one.